Matt here for ThoughtSpark. When it comes to Mars, the red planet, what sort of things come to mind? Maybe the orbiters, the landers, and rovers we have sent, NASA, SpaceX, maybe even life? When it comes to sending men and women to Mars, a successful and safe return trip home is ideally what we want. This would be highly beneficial for science, as well as showing our triumph for spaceflight and our technological advances. But what about sending men and women to Mars to live there permanently? Just how safe and how viable of an option really is that for us as a species looking forth into the future? First, in terms of the Martian soil or the Martian regolith, the Phoenix lander took samples of this and found that there's magnesium, sodium, and potassium in the soil. These, of course, are found on Earth, as well as other macro and micronutrients, and are necessary for plants to grow. However, these nutrients vary in availability across the Martian surface. They could be found in large amounts in one area and virtually none in other areas. However, one big issue in the Martian soil that would present a massive challenge for astronauts and future settlers is the amount of perchlorates that are found in the Martian soil. For the amount of perchlorates found in the Martian soil, this concentration is highly toxic to humans. So growing plants would be a problem in absorbing the perchlorates as we would ingest them and make ourselves very sick. Not to mention the huge, sometimes planet-wide dust storms would blow the perchlorates around like crazy. This would not be good. Speaking of huge dust storms, this would present a huge challenge for future settlers. Not only would it get into your spacesuit, potentially ruining seals, it would also cover solar panels that are mounted on top of roofs, and also other outdoor sensitive equipment that are necessary for sustaining a habitat. Now, in terms of Mars's atmosphere, which is only about 1% of Earth's atmosphere, we would obviously have to be confined to our spacesuits or indoor habitats. And to be honest, I think it's a rather limiting and inconvenient way to live out your day-to-day life. So until the planet is sufficiently terraformed where we wouldn't have to wear a spacesuit and the pressure would be one Earth atmosphere, this is how we would have to live our lives. Mars's atmosphere at its highest density is equivalent to around 35 kilometers in altitude here on Earth. And obviously at 1% of Earth's atmosphere, there are less particles in the atmosphere to deflect solar rays, leading us to another problem, which is radiation. And this is both cosmic and solar radiation. Since Mars doesn't have a magnetic field, we would have to find some way to make one. NASA is currently looking into an option where they would place some sort of magnetic field generating satellite at an L1 Lagrange point between Mars and the Sun. Being at the L1 Lagrange point, this would act as sort of a shield from solar radiation, protecting Mars and its atmosphere, as well as its inhabitants. However, generating the power to create such a magnetic field that would really have an effect would be a problem. Both solar and cosmic radiation is a huge problem. Having to make the trip out there, having to stay on Mars for however long, and maybe even return home. Another problem with living on Mars permanently would be the gravity. Mars only has about 38% of Earth's gravity, and this would still be a challenge for us living there because we would still lose bone density. We could try and combat this by working out, just like the astronauts on the International Space Station do. However, there'd also be problems with muscle loss, as well as poor blood and fluid circulation within the body as well. Another issue is temperature. At the equator on Mars, it can actually get up to around 35 degrees Celsius. However, on a colder day, it would get down to negative 143 degrees Celsius, making this, on Earth, look rather cozy. So is sending people to permanently inhabit Mars a worthwhile venture in today's day and age? Or should we wait perhaps as long as it takes to really make sure we get it right and advance space technology just a little bit further. This is a risk that we will one day take, furthering us as a species, planting the seed for mankind on another world. And maybe one day we will live on Mars and be fully adapted and fully evolved and functional as Martians. And as always, thanks for watching, and stay curious.